Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be with you. Thank you for coming. And thank you, AWE, for inviting me. So today we are going to talk about the challenge of bringing augmented and virtual reality content to 1 billion users. So first, I'm Soraya. I'm 24 and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Minsa. Minsar is a Parisian-based startup created early 2016 and specialized in special computing, software development. With a team today of almost 30 people in France, UK, and US. 1 billion people in VR. I'm sure you remember this famous sentence of Mark Zuckerberg. We were in 2017 and Facebook just released the Oculus Go at $200. 1 year after that, he finally announced that we were at the beginning of the journey with only 1% achieved. Well, today, in 2020, we are still far from achieving this goal. Why? Well, because spatial computing is still so early. And in this first section, we are going to dive into the current state of the AR and XR, of AR and VR industry, XR industry. Let's say XR during the presentation. So let's start with the current compatible devices market. Well, actually, there is significant progress in the hardware market. Last year, Facebook released the Oculus Quest. As you know, the first 6 degrees of freedom standalone device, no cable, no PC, no external trackers, and for less than $500. That's quite great, no? The mobile AR market is already huge today with more than 1.5 billion units around the world. And AR glasses market is finally accessible at the end of this year with the coming of the Unreal AR glasses, Chinese company, with an approachable price at $500. That's quite amazing, right? The power of AR and VR becoming more and more accessible. So why is AR VR still niche today? Why we don't use VR devices in our everyday lives? Well, there are so many good use cases where AR and VR can provide significant value, whether it's for B2B or B2C markets. But still apart from AR and VR hobbyists, well, us, not many are using these technologies today. Well, about technological adoption, I want you to pause and think about what we are going through currently. Well, in 2020, the COVID-19 crisis forced the whole population to quickly change their habits. And despite this general and dramatical crisis, the COVID-19 finally made the digital transformation a reality. Well, for the first time in history, almost half of the population was in quarantine. So with billions of people at home and millions of companies working remotely, many processes had to be digitalized overnight. And there's been a dramatical increase in the usage of digital meeting tools such as Google Hangouts, Zoom. Wow, from 10 million daily users to almost 300 millions in few months. That's crazy, no? Or Microsoft Teams for the best known. And as Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said, we saw 2 years of digital transformation in 2 months. 2 years in 2 months. Wow, looks like a perfect time for AR and VR, right? So is there an impact on the XR industry? Well, no, nothing substantial, unfortunately. The pandemic has almost no impact on the adoption of XR technologies. Why? Why that? First, there are always a certain latency, in the adoption of new technology. Well, we can see it now, for instance, with video conferencing, which have been there for more than a decade now. And it's only now in 2020 that the majority of the population finally adopt it and use it in their daily lives. Well, it will be the same for ARVR. And second one is a lack of awareness. Because even if the technology exists with many use cases, as you know, the vast majority of the population don't know that. And still today, don't really know the difference between AR and VR. Yes, my friend, we are at the beginning of the journey, remember? And today, there are not enough devices and a huge lack of content. So let's admit that we fixed major hardware issues and that we reached, let's say, 10 million Quest and Unreal units sold in 2021 or 2022. How do we then get from a super tiny user base to reach 1 billion users? Well, first, we should better understand where are we today and the path we have to build all together. I'm sure you already saw this curve, the S curve, the cycle of adoption of technologies. Well, most technologies follow this path from innovators, basically hardware and software constructors like us, you and me, to laggards. And actually, we are only here. We are really at the beginning. So before we reach 1 billion users, we must find ways to, make XR attractive and useful for, let's say, 50 million users, hopefully in the coming years. And then these people will advocate for the technology. Because what makes a technology truly disruptive is precisely when it becomes mainstream. But how do we make it mainstream? How do we cross the chasm? And for me, it's not really a question of if, it's mostly a question of when. It could be in 2022, 2025, more. In my opinion, I think there are three main pillars to make XR accessible, to contribute to spatial computing broad adoption. The first one is hardware. The second one is social, with a focus on user experience. And the third one is content. We need more content. Well, the Quest provides an amazing experience for us, AR and VR hobbyists. But there is still a lot of friction involved. Its performance is great, but it's clearly not enough. And any performance boost in future versions will be very welcomed. And also devices available on the market, even the Android glasses, are still too heavy, have fixed focus, and don't let anyone to see your eyes. So it's not human first. And the Quest is good and because of its accessible price. You can get two Quest for the price of an iPhone. And this is why I think Apple will have a great shot at AR, because they always build human first devices with usability before all else. Also, in the era of climate change and forced quarantines, as we saw, spatial computing can be a great way of putting us together in the same room, in both our professionals and personal worlds. Because one of the major critics related to VR is that it encloses people in separate worlds. Well, okay, that was before collaborative VR. Because now VR is and must be social. Well, GAFAM understood this well, like Facebook is preparing virtual worlds where people can meet and exchange together with friends. And we have also, in the meantime, few startups like Spatial XR or Minsar, which are working on collaborative tools for the professional world. And I personally strongly believe in virtual events. with, the possibility to bring the experts anywhere around the world with almost no carbon impact. And it's what Level Virtual did last month, and it's what we are doing right now. And the next step will be events full in VR, in full immersion. And last but not least, more content. Content which bring us back to the devices and applications every day. Well, for example, we have almost 2 billion applications on the App Store, like an application for everything, versus less than 100 applications on the Oculus Store at the launch, and today approximately 1,000. It's not enough. We need more. Imagine having less than 1,000 songs on Spotify. Well, it's what we had 20 years ago with the iPod. We need more. So why is there such a lack of content? And how can we provide enough content for a billion users? Well, what is a spatial computing roadmap for the next decade? Actually, it's a roadmap we really have to build all together, with inclusive and accessible technologies that reflect our humanity. So, what is the current state? What is the current content creation pipeline? Well, still today, it's really technical to create and develop XR experiences. Well, you need to be a developer or to know how to use complex 3D engines such as Unreal Engines, Unity, and you can use these engines to make your experience immersive in VR, but most of the time it's limited and not that intuitive. Plus, you still have to work through engines, and there's basically nothing for immersive AR through headsets. So you have to constantly iterate between your PC and the device. And it's also incredibly hard to distribute on all platforms for the creators, but also hard to discover for the final users. So, well, today I don't have enough time to cover all the things we need to improve. So I choose 4 key areas of improvements we need in order to make AR and VR mainstream. Well, the first one is we need more and better prototyping toolkits. Creators should be able to prototype, to design their ideas in immersion, in 3D, through the headset, and not just using their 2D computers. Well, when you think of it, it actually makes no sense. Build a 3D experience in 2D. Also, for the past decades, we used to create content in a virtual canvas. Now the content is sitting in the physical world. It has to be aware of the surrounding and be accessible based on locations and physical hints. And once you have created your content, well, you need to share it, right? And there are so many different ways to share ARVR content. It could be through a social media post, a website, an application, and also the content might become an application or an entire website itself. And perhaps you want to publish to a metaverse like Magic Leap's Magicverse, but in order to do all these things, well, we need better reality engines. We need open APIs. We need standards, and we need open ecosystems. And we need to build all of that together. The industry needs a way to considerably decrease the time and cost needed to create and distribute ARVR content. Well, anyone should be able to create content in minutes, not days or weeks or months, and without the needs of any technical skills. Because more often than not, the experience creation is done by developers that are often not the original creators of the content. So we need to offer tools to empower non-technical content creators. so that they can create more and better experiences code-free. This will tremendously help increase the variety and diversity of AR/VR content. And this is precisely what we have been working on during the past 4 years at Minsar. And wow, we see teams able to go from ideas, ideation to distribution in hours only. So with Minsa Studio, in 3 easy steps, any creative professional can start create immersively. Yeah, immersively. Because at Minsa, we strongly believe that 3D creation must be in 3D, must be through the device, the VR headset or AR glasses. And then the creative professional should be able to massively distribute their AR VR experiences to their clients. So if you are interested in learning more, please feel free to follow us on social media. We have many news, great news to come. And also you can join one of our Minsar University Masterclasses online. So you will be able to learn how to build your first no-code XR experiences. Well, let's go beyond reality together. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and let's switch to the Q&A session. Thank you.
Hey, Soraya, thank you so much. That was such a comprehensive presentation.
Hello.
Can you hear me all right? I can hear you. Oh, looks like they're having some technical difficulties. Okay. Hi, Soraya. This is Eamon.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right? Cool.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. That was such a great comprehensive presentation.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, I'm a content creator in LA, and I know how difficult it is to make AR VR content. A lot of technical hurdles, and there's a lot of hurdles to getting to that billion users. Oculus Quest, like you said, was sold out. I ordered mine 2 weeks ago, and it still hasn't shipped now. So it'll take a while to get there. But I'll just jump into the questions since we are running short on time. So. Have you looked into volumetric video solutions? These provide 3D content at the same creation time cost as video production.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And actually, I agree, volumetric video is a really great type of asset. And in fact, we've partnered with Microsoft more than 1 year ago now. And you can import volumetric video on Minsar. So yeah, you can use it.
Nice. And time for one more question. And if you have more time, please answer more questions on the chat on live stream too. But have you examined the use by gender and geographic use and barriers to people who are underrepresented in XR use?
Well, we don't have hard data on this. But I really felt like making, AR/VR content creation accessible and approachable definitely helps decrease any kind of gender gap. And as we lower the level of technical skills required, we will allow really quite everyone to express themselves. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think what you're doing with Minsar, your initiative to try to make content creation easier for folks is definitely going to help in that regard. All right, thank you so much for your time, Soraya. We have to move on to the next, but thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.